Chapter 2. The Gulf Stream touched down hard. John grabbed the armrest and watched through the window as jungle blurred past on both sides of the runway. The strip was paved but narrow, cut straight along the eastern edge of the island. The pilot's reverse thrust, the cabin rattled, the plane slowed and finally stopped. John looked out the window and saw a dense green wall on one side. The Pacific Ocean was on the other. The sky was a blue so deep it looked fake. John marveled that a 19-year-old owned this island and everything on it. The idea still seemed incredible. Carole was already up. She stretched her arms overhead and smiled at the group. "Welcome to my island." "It needs a name," Margot said. "It does," Carole agreed. "I told John last time we were here that we needed to come up with a way to name it." "A contest on your social media," John said. He had suggested this earlier. Carole had been lukewarm about the idea. "I love that idea," Margot said. "We should do it." "Maybe everyone can give me ideas for a contest tonight," Carole said. "That's a good idea," Skip said. "I'd rather hunt for pirate gold," Dennis said. "That sounds like fun," Skip said. The flight attendant opened the door, and the warm salt air hit them. John had the urge to run down to the ocean. They filed down the stairs onto the tarmac. John had the Nikon out before his feet hit the ground. He got Carole on the steps with the jungle behind her. He got Margot shielding her eyes against the sun. A white Chevy Suburban was parked at the edge of the runway with the keys in the ignition. Their luggage came out of the cargo hold, and they loaded it into the back. The pilot stood near the nose of the plane. The captain, a lean guy with gray at his temples, spoke to Carole. "We've got pickups in Guam, and then a flight to Manila. We'll be back in 4 days. 5 at the outside. Mr. Gray will confirm the schedule." "That's fine," Carole said. "Do you have the sat phone?" "In the house." The captain nodded. He looked at the jungle, then back at Carole. "Have a good weekend, Miss Gray." They watched the Gulfstream taxi to the end of the strip, turn and accelerate back down the runway. It lifted off and banked left over the water and got smaller and smaller until it was a white dot and then nothing. "So we're stuck here," Dennis said. "We're not stuck. We're on vacation," Carole said. "Who's driving?" Dennis asked. Brian was already in the driver's seat. He had the engine running and his arm out the window. "Shotgun," Skip said, and jogged around to the passenger side. The rest of them piled into the back 2 rows. John ended up in the 3rd row with Dennis. Margot and Deanna took the middle row with Carole between them. Brian dropped it into drive and punched the gas before everyone was seated. Diana grabbed the headrest in front of her. Dennis, who had been reaching for his seatbelt, fell sideways into John. "Brian," Carole said. The road was a single lane of packed dirt that cut straight through the jungle. The canopy closed overhead, and the light dropped. The jungle pressed in from both sides. The mirrors slapped plants as they raced past. Brian drove fast, too fast for a dirt road with no shoulders and no sightlines. He took a curve, the rear end slid, and Margot yelped and grabbed the door handle. "Slow down," Carole said. Brian didn't slow down. He accelerated out of the curve and hit a rut that bounced the whole truck. Something in the luggage compartment crashed. "Brian," I said, "slow down." Relax, I've driven worse." "Horse shit," Carole said. Brian took another curve. Diana pressed against the door. Margot had both hands braced on the seat in front of her. "Brian, stop the vehicle," Dennis said from beside John. Something in the way Dennis said it got through. Brian eased off the gas. The Suburban slowed to something reasonable. "Thank you," Dennis said. The jungle scrolled past. John spotted an opening on the left side of the road, a narrow path, barely visible, cutting into the undergrowth and curving out of sight. It looked like it had been cleared at some point, but the jungle was taking it back. He could see maybe 30 feet before the green swallowed it. "Where does that go?" Margot asked, pointing. She'd seen it too. Carole leaned forward to look. "I don't know. I've never gone down it." "You've been here before and you never explored?" Skip said. "I was here for 2 days. The jungle is thick. My dad's property manager told me it's easy to get lost in there. I believed him. I had no desire to find out." "The Japanese ruins are supposed to be somewhere in that direction. There are parts of the interior that are still totally wild. No trails, no clearings. Just jungle," John said. "Maybe the Japanese soldiers stole the pirate gold," Skip said. Don't think that way, Dennis said. Here's an idea, John said. You could hide treasure on the island and have a contest every year where people try to solve clues to find it. Or you look for the real treasure every year, Dennis said. Maybe. My dad said we should stay away from any ruins until a professional inspects them, Carole said. John's feelings used to get hurt when Carole didn't love his ideas. He'd learned not to read anything into it. She wanted all the ideas. Some she used, some she didn't. Brian was where John used to be. He couldn't hear a no without hearing an insult. The road climbed gradually. The jungle thinned as they gained elevation and then opened up all at once, and John saw the ocean. The western side of the island fell away in a long green slope to a white beach, and beyond it was water that went from turquoise near the shore to deep blue at the horizon. The sky was enormous. "Oh my God," Diana said. "It's beautiful." The mansion sat on the highest point of the western ridge. It was modern and sat in an orientation designed to maximize the view, a wide terrace wrapped around the front. Below the house, cut into the slope, was a pool with an infinity edge that seemed to pour directly into the Pacific. Brian pulled the Suburban onto a paved apron behind the house, where the dirt road gave out. A metal carport stood at one edge, four-wheelers parked under it in a row. The back of the house rose windowless above them, broken only by a service door. Past the far end of the house, on the opposite side from the carport, the ground ran level a while before it fell to the beach. A garden stretched back across that flat. Beyond it sat a single-story cottage with a clothesline strung along one wall, staff quarters. They climbed out. John stretched his legs and looked around. Carole stood apart from the group. John could see she was furious. She caught John looking at her and walked over. He was like that the entire flight, bitchy, picking at everything, picking at you. "I can handle Brian." He didn't understand what Carole saw in Brian. The guy was a jerk 100% of the time. John had sworn to himself he would outlast him. When Carole dumped Brian, and John had no doubt she would, he would still be here. "That's not the point. I don't understand what his problem is. You're my photographer. You work for me. Why does he care that you're here?" "It doesn't matter. We're here. It's beautiful. Let it go." Carole looked at him for a moment, then she turned back toward the group and put her hands on her hips, and her voice shifted bright and loud and hostess perfect. "All right, let's get inside and I'll show you the rooms